Welcome back to another video, guys. So in this video we're going to be taking a look at the two new characters that were teased in the 8th anniversary video. So the first character that was teased was Lisette. Now Lisette is a light soul weaver. She's a Libra constellation, and overall, like, she has, like, her stats are not the worst. I mean, she has a nice bit of HP. She has 107 speed, so it's not incredibly fast, but not incredibly slow either. If we go ahead and take a look at her S3, or sorry, her S2 passive first. So at the start of the battle, she gets a unique buff called Divinity, and she gets 4 stacks of it. And then every time an ally dies, she basically consumes a stack to revive them as a placeholder. And then after 2 turns, it turns back into the original hero. That's the main gist of it. So this character is insanely strong just off first impressions, because a revival kit like this is always, like, it's really good in places like, for example, Guild War, RTA. Like, when you think of Guild War, for example, the first thought that comes to your mind is Ruel. Ruel is pretty much a staple in Guild War at the moment. She's using a lot of very safe scout comps. One of the comps, for example, that I commonly use is Harsetti, Ruel, and Estelle when I want to scout Renak, Nodos, Arno. So this character is, like, built in Revive isn't even a skill, it's more of a passive, and she can just more or less keep doing it, if that makes sense, right? Like, if 2 of your characters die, she'll revive both of them after 2 turns. So, like, the main limiter for a character like Ruel is that her revive is only on her S3, and it's a somewhat, not super long, but still somewhat long cooldown. So after she revives one unit, she has to wait a while before she can revive the other. So the fact that this character can revive them after 2 turns, but there's no, like, kind of cooldown for it, I guess, it's pretty strong. So we do have the buff descriptions. So with Divinity, she also does get buffs of her own. The main one being she's immune to debuffs. Now, being immune to debuffs in the current meta is insanely strong because everything debuffs you like crazy, right? You have openers like Arnell who defense break you, bind you, they can put erosion on you, they fear you, you know, like, there's like a lot of debuffs that stop movement, you know, reduce CR, stuff like that. And like the fact that she's immune to, well, just the debuffs is incredibly strong. The only other 2-ish characters that have this is Genesis Ross, who is also, again, a prominent staple in the game at the moment, and Bystander Wyong. But Bystander Wyong, she's immune to all buffs. She isn't the strongest character at the moment just because it might be a little bit harder to use her, but her passive does still, like, help her immensely. Right, she does still see some use here and there, but it's not like as much as it used to be. But yeah, being immune to debuffs, incredibly strong. On top of that, which each stack, she also does get free stats, health and defense. So she kind of just sits there and tanks. Like, she can tank everything, right? She'll be eating hits for days. But yeah, so every time a unit dies, they'll get the Fragment of Life unique, and basically after 2 turns, she'll revive them. Now, I believe that Hecate does stop the revive. I don't think the interaction was shown in their demo videos from what I remember seeing. But yeah, I mean, we definitely have to check it out, but I'm pretty sure Hecate would stop the revive. It only makes sense. So we can move on to her skill 3. Oh, and then this is just the blessing. That's the buff description. So skill 3, converge time. So on top of the already cracked passive S2, her S3 is also pretty strong. So her S3 is a full heal. It's not an HP based heal, it's just a full heal, which is in itself pretty good. Increased speed is also, again, a very nice debuff because it does let you cycle incredibly fast. And when the caster is granted Divinity, which she will have, it grants time reversal. Now, time reversal is it's like Wretched Rose's S3, where after she S3s the second time, she resets the state of the battle to the first turn. So what that means is all the cooldowns are back, any injury damage is reversed. Overall, it's a pretty strong effect. Effects like these in Guild War are very strong as well, because characters like Dark Corvus get to S3, and then you can tune it so that this character goes immediately after, and when she resets the battle state, the Dark Corvus will have his S3 back, assuming your Dark Corvus is on Warfare set, for example. Now, this character is incredibly strong. Let me just take a look at her S1 real quick. So, recovers the health of all allies, and damaged and amount covered is scorched to her health. So this is health-based healing. Now this is the soul burn skill. So when you soul burn it, you activate Afterglow. So it dispels 2 buffs from an ally with divine energy. That in itself is also really strong. 2 debuff dispel on S1 is pretty good. It is a soul burn, but it's still really strong. Increase your by 30%. If there's any fragments of life, it reverts them to a hero. So she can basically S1 immediately if something were to die and just turn them into a hero instead of waiting for the 2 turns. I'm fairly sure that's how that works. But yeah, overall this character is very strong. It is an ML5, you do have to pull for it. So I hope you guys do have your pities ready. But yeah, it's incredibly strong. Characters like this do really heavily affect the meta. Like, you know, for example, when characters like Notice came out, the meta changed kind of hard. You know, characters like G-Ross came out, again, the meta does, like, it doesn't do like a complete change, but it definitely causes a dent in the meta where like now you might be building new heroes to combat this hero, or you might be building heroes that very complement to this kind of hero, right? So she will definitely make a impact in the meta. I'm excited to see how she'll work. But yeah, overall her kit's incredibly strong. Like just over kits alone, I think she is a must pull, especially if you like to do stuff like Guild War and RTA. I think she'll definitely become a staple in Guild War. But yeah, we can go ahead and take a look at Politis now. So I will cut to the Politis showcase. So here we have Uncharted Pioneer Politis. Now this is the other character that I showcased. She is a ice unit, so she'll be pulled with Covenant banners. Covenant bookmarks. She is, however, not limited, which is kind of nice, because that means you can wishlist her and her artifact right after her banner disappears, which is pretty good. That means like if you're unfortunately not able to get her right away, or if, for example, you're a little short on pulls, you could potentially wait and pull her later. Now, this heavily depends on the state of your account. We do have a collab coming up, so like if you did have to skip this character in order to pity on the collab units, I would heavily recommend doing that instead. You have to get the collab units. Getting collab units is way more important than getting a non-limited RGB. You know, even if she's good, you can eventually get her to Covenant, or again, she'll be available to like a story summon or whatnot later on as well. But yeah, let's take a look. So again, she is an Ice Ranger. Rangers are pretty strong right now as well. She is an opener. So Ranger openers do get a lot of very beneficial artifacts. Again, off the top of my head, I think stuff like Guiding Light that lets you start the battle with stealth, so she can be targeted by things like Zeo. Things like I forgot the name of the artifact. It's a Saria's artifact, but she's if her S3 is a non-attack skill, she can push the backline unit up CR. If her S3 is an attack skill, I think it is. It's an attack AOE. She can run something like Renewed Will, so she does take the first turn. She can S3, and then she can push up her whole team. She can also run like Ludwig artifact to give her team a soul if they need it. Like there's a lot of possibilities that you can run with a Ranger. Rangers do have very diverse artifacts. They have a pretty good range. Like you can get damage, you can get support, you can get, you know, debuffing. Like there's a lot. But yeah, she's 120 base speed, which is pretty high. If we're being honest, she'll definitely be a contender for opening. Obviously, she's not gonna outspeed things like Arnell naturally, but she's still pretty high up there with this kind of speed, with a 120 base speed. But yeah, let's take a look at her passive. Now, she does have a very unique passive in the sense that we have never seen anything like this before. So she has a location, well, I guess we have seen it through Perunka, where she has a location-based buff. So based on where you put her in on the team, she provides a unique buff to the team. So when she's at the front, she gets offense mission. When she's in the back, she gets defensive mission. And when you complete either of the missions, then you get Last Words of the Fallen Star. So, as you see here, Last Words of the Fallen Star grants Knowledge of Stars. That's a unique buff right here, and it grants extra to caster. So we can take a look first at offensive mission. Now, offensive mission, what it does is it increases the attack of all allies by 10%. Again, this is when she's in the front row, and when your team attacks 10 times, you complete the mission. Completing the mission again will then give you the Knowledge of Stars, which increases additional damage by 100%, which in itself is it's pretty strong. It's a lot of set damage. Now we can take a look at defensive mission. So when she's in the back row, increases the max health of all allies by 10%, and when your team is attacked 10 times, you complete the mission to then get Knowledge of Stars, increases damage by 100%. So basically, the idea is that where you place her is kind of like how you want your team to be played out. So if you're putting in the front, it's kind of assumed that you're going to be cleaving. The bonus stats, 10% attack, is pretty strong to give to your whole team for free. And then when you put her in the back, you're obviously trying to, I guess, going a little bit more tanky. Like there are situations where like maybe you still want to go fast, maybe you are cleaving, but getting this 10% HP does help your team live potential like annoying stuff like here and there, like maybe like a potential counter attack from like a unit that, you know, doesn't really do a lot of damage, but it could kill something very squishy. So there's potential. Like the issue I initially see is that if you are cleaving with her, I don't know if your team is going to be able to get the missions off, per se. Whereas the defensive mission, you're more likely to get off if you're tanking down. But, I mean, the buffs are very unique. I believe I've seen people talk about her defense mission as being anti-cleave, where you can run this and just tank down. It'll help you tank down significantly. 10% health is a lot. You get 10% health from like artifacts like Precious Connection, for example, and even that artifact itself on a knight gives you a ton of stats. So overall, her kit's pretty unique. I'm excited to see how people play her. I don't know if she's broken per se, but again, I am not that knowledgeable on like battle strategies per se. But she does look really strong. I do like the 10% free attack. I think that's a very nice like bonus of stats, especially when you just need to fill a character slot for stuff like arena. Like I see a lot of times in arena where I only need 3 units, so the 4th unit is just kind of there. So like having a character like this that just gives my other 2 like cleave units insane stats is pretty good. Now the thing I am excited for is her S3. So her S3 is a AoE attack skill. It dispels all buffs, so it's a full strip, and it increases cooldowns by 1 turn. You also deal additional 3k set damage, and if you soul burn, ignores ER. So her S3 is kind of crazy in the sense that like if she is able to take the first turn, which again she does have quite a bit of speed, so there's a world where she does take the first turn quite often, especially if the enemy isn't playing like really fast openers like Arnel, Renak, or Zio. But an ignore ER's soul burn is really strong in a character like this because it's a full strip. It's not 2 buffs, so they can't buff stack. It is a full strip. So that means if it's not a Tori, they're losing all their buffs. The other thing is increasing skill cooldowns by 1 turn. Like even as a cleave, when you let her go first, everything losing their initial skills can be kind of detrimental to the team, because like for example, if you're using this into something like Ruel, right? Even if the Ruel were to die, because it's S2 and S3 are going to get reset by 1 turn, as soon as their Ruel revives and takes the next turn, she won't be able to press any buttons, right? Resetting by 1 turn does help you a lot, because if your team does lack a little bit of damage, the enemy team will struggle to kill you with just S1s a lot of the times. So this is it's a pretty cool skill. I definitely think, like in my opinion, this is like kind of crazy. Now the only reason I could see a potential downside to this is that you do get full strips in the form of Briar Witch, and Briar Witch, although she doesn't have the skill cooldowns by 1 turn, she can defense break. So it's kind of like a give and take, where I think it definitely is situation based, but I think with how rampant Nodos is at the moment, this is not a terrible option. Like even just delaying Nodos by 1 turn can heavily move the fight in your favor. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I definitely think this will be handy. If not in RTA, I think she'll definitely see some use in Guild War and potentially any PvE stuff. That's kind of hit or miss, but you know, can't wait to see. So S1 attacks all enemies. So again, it's an AoE, which is pretty cool too. 50% chance to dispel 1 buff, and then you just do 1k set damage. It's pretty standard. Again, an AoE on S1 is kind of cool. There's some characters that do that. It's kind of useful in some PvE stuff as well. Now her artifact is supposed to be really good. So her artifact Light and Darkness, at max imprint, you have a chance to, or you deal 2k set damage whenever you use an AoE attack, and you have a 100% chance to decrease CR by 15%. So decreasing CR is kind of crazy, because again, she is an opener, so you're gonna kind of assume that she takes the first turn. Obviously you can 15% this. It's not ignore ER, it's not like 100%. So there is a chance you resist this, but like it's heavily in your favor, especially because Politis, you probably will build a little bit of ER on her, or sorry, effectiveness on her. So she can definitely proc this against stuff that don't really build any ER, or tend to only build like, let's say like 100, like your average knight or something. So it's pretty cool. This artifact is definitely going to be fairly strong. The nice thing is that because it's unlimited, you can put this in your wish list as soon as the banner ends. But yeah, I'm pretty excited to see what happens with Politis. I do think that Lisette is like the star of the show at the moment, where her kit's just so insanely strong and new that everybody's focus goes to her. But I do think Politis definitely is a gem. I think she'll definitely see some use, and yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. But thank you so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please comment, like, and subscribe. If you have any questions, you can leave them down below, and I'll try to answer you as soon as I can. But I will see you guys in the next one.